Welcome to Pet Pals, the show that features the animals of Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Sean Snyder, and with me is our usual guest, Randy, and with him is Freddie. Freddie is a 2 to 3 year old beagle. He is tricolor, the typical color of a beagle, and we gave him the name Freddie because he was a stray. Freddie was found wandering around Thurmont, and he was actually traveling with a companion named Sadie, who we named Sadie, I should say. Sadie is about an 8-year-old beagle. And what we were told by the person who dropped Freddie off was that he would come on and off, him and Sadie would come on and off of the property for about 2 weeks. They kept the two dogs overnight, and then they did bring the dogs into us. So for 2 weeks they came on in and out of the property, and then they brought him into the home and then brought him to the shelter. Freddie had, when he came in, it looks like we provided him with standard treatment. We also noted that he had hookworms, so we treated him for that. And then because he was running, we also tested him for heartworm and Lyme's disease, and he tested negative for both of those. Part of what we encourage people to do is, if you find an animal, you can file actually a found report with us. Frederick County Animal Control is the only shelter, and all strays should be coming to us, or if you find an animal and want to hold on to it, you should at least notify us so we can reconnect owners with their pets. Obviously, the goal for us is to make that reunion happen. We don't necessarily want to keep people's pets. We'd rather they go back to the home, the environment that they're comfortable with. So Freddie being a beagle, his new family will have to be aware that he is a wanderer, which a lot of beagles are. They put their nose to the ground, they start smelling, and next thing you know, they're in a different zip code. What will help Freddie reduce his wandering also is the fact that we are going to neuter him. He is currently not neutered, and his adoption fee includes being neutered. It also includes being microchipped, so he'll be able to be returned more quickly, and then all the other care that we provided while he's been here. So our first dog of the day is Freddie. He is a 2 to 3 year old beagle, male, and if you're interested in taking a look, stop by the shelter. Our next guest is Badger. Badger is a 5-year-old Pomeranian mix, and he's 5 years old, and he also came to us as a stray. Badger was found on Blue Ridge Court in Frederick on approximately May 1st, and where he was found was not a very good place for a dog to be relaxing. He was found underneath a rear car tire. So fortunately, the person who was driving the car either walked around and noticed him, but it could have been very bad for Badger if they hadn't taken a look first or walked around the rear of their car. From what we know about Badger, he's a very easygoing dog. We have him color-coded orange, which makes him on the average scale here, and we likely categorized him as average because he does tend to stray or wander because he came to us as a stray. It looks like he does need a dental at some point. It's not recommended immediately, but like many small dogs, he will need some kind of dental care in his future. He came to us and he actually had a microchip, which a lot of people think, well, gee, should be back with his owner. But what happened was the chip was not registered. And here's a little bit of a twist. The chip was actually implanted in Orange County, Florida. So this dog has at some point lived in Florida. He came from Florida, so he's traveled up here to the Mid-Atlantic, and now he's without a home. So if I had to guess, he did come from a shelter in Florida, so he had a family there. Someone adopted him. They must have traveled up to the Mid-Atlantic here, and now he's lost once again. So that's what we can surmise from some of the details we put together through the chip and then other things we've seen. He weighs in at 13.9 pounds, so he's a smaller dog. He's not going to get any bigger than that. And at 5 years of age, we do incentivize his adoption. So we take $20 off of the fee, which is $92.50. So someone can adopt Badger for $72.50. If you like Badger, you can stop by and visit him here at Frederick County Animal Control. Our next dog is Winston. Winston is a Retriever Hound mix, and he's 2 years old. Winston has been with us before. He was actually part of our foster care program originally. So he came to us as an underage puppy, meaning under 8 weeks of age. Lived with a foster family, and then we adopted him out sometime after 8 weeks. His owners kept him for the 2 years, and then they did bring him back to us on May 1st, and what they told us was they were not able to house train him in the 2 years that they had him. What we have seen here is that when you take him outside, he seems to want to go to the bathroom outside. So I don't know if there was some disconnect with the amount of time he was staying in a crate or inside, but it seems here the amount we take him out, he is somewhat house trained. He will go to the bathroom outside. You can see he's still playful. 2 years old, he's ready to go. He is a bit goofy, like a lot of labs are, but he is very friendly, very social. He enjoys making new friends. Earlier in the week, we took him out on an outing, and he met everybody. Tended not to put his paws on people. He would jump up, but he would never put his paws on people. So all in all, he has a good foundation for a 2-year-old dog, but he will need a family that has time to take him outside and run him and play with him and just be with him to make him a part of the family. So Winston's other family, it looks like that he had been around kids of all ages. It says 6 months and up pretty much, so 6-month-year-old baby. It looks like that he played with the neighbor's dogs, and then it says that he visited the cats of a relative. So he's been around cats. And when we asked how he got along with other dogs and other cats, they responded positively and said, yes, he did get along. It also says that he is not crate trained. So that is something also that obviously house training, it helps if you confine a dog to a space, whether it's a crate, a small room, but if you really want to go the full distance, you need to crate train them because dogs typically don't like to lie where they go to the bathroom. Since he's been here, it looks like he came to us. He came to us with a rabies vaccination, so he's current until 2017. He is microchipped, and that will need to be re-registered. All in all, this is a dog that would make a great family pet. Just someone needs to take the time and invest a little bit in him, and he's well worth it, and that's why we have him on our adoption floor. So once again, this is Winston. He is a 2-year-old retriever hound mix, and he's available for adoption here at the shelter. Our next girl is Magnolia, and you can see by her trying to crawl up on Randy's lap, she's an affectionate girl. She is 3 to 4 years old, and she is a pit bull mix, and her coloring is what pit bulls are called as blue. So she is a blue pit bull. She also came to us as a stray, so her real name is not Magnolia. That's something we gave to her when she arrived at the shelter. She was found wandering as a stray on Jefferson Street by the Weiss. So no owner has come forward. It looks like she's been with us since the 2nd of May. And we hope her owner, that's still fairly early, may come forward and reclaim her. It looks like she has had puppies. So at some point in the recent past, she has had a litter of puppies. And what we're hoping is those puppies have been weaned and she is no longer producing milk. So the hope is that there's no puppies out there that need her care right now. When she came to us, she did not have a microchip. So obviously that's one of the first things we do when strays come to us, either from a private citizen or if an animal control officer finds a dog or cat out in the streets. They scan them for a chip. Good opportunity to say that if you ever need to get a chip, that you can always call us, and we have clinics different times. We will actually be having our open house on May 17th from 11 to 2, and we will be offering clinics on that day. So you can come, no appointment necessary. You just come to the front desk, say you want a chip, and we'll direct you around to the back. And what will happen is we'll chip your animal. The fee is $15, and we register that chip for you. So that's the last piece of the puzzle that has to happen, that registration. So it looks like while Magnolia was here, we've obviously treated her for a few things. We provided her with a distemper vaccination, gave her a Bordetella. It looks like that she did test positive for roundworms. And then also the great thing is we have a vet on staff and we have several kind-hearted vets that volunteer their time here. And she has 2 separate write-ups from vets. So she has had 2 separate full medical exams by vets since she's been here. The notes are minor. It looks like she's had some wounds in the past that have healed all right. But all that stuff is given to anyone who is interested in adopting her. Our goal is full disclosure with any animal that comes here and we adopt back out. Part of the process for dogs also includes a behavior assessment. So she went through a behavior assessment. A couple of the notes from that behavior assessment says that she knows how to sit, she likes to give kisses, sweet girl who loves to cuddle. So all in all, what we've seen since she's been here is a great dog that someone is hopefully missing and still comes and reclaims her. Because at the end of the day, usually dogs are most comfortable where they came from. So if she was in a place that she needs to be returned or should be returned, obviously that's where we'd like to see her go. At the same time, she's on our adoption floor, that's our goal, and we will find a new home for her. Once again, her name's Magnolia, the name we bestowed upon her when she arrived at the shelter. She's a 3 to 4-year-old pit bull mix, and she's here at the shelter. Our next guest is a familiar face. His name, if you remember, is Toretto. He is a 13-year-old pit bull mix, and he was basically abandoned. Toretto was brought to us by an owner who chose not to wait for the process of intake. And what happened was the person decided to let him go up the road. So sadly, we don't know much about him. We aged him at 13 years old. He could be a little higher, he could be a little lower. But what we found in the month that he's been with us is that he's a nice dog. He is sweet. He is people-oriented. He is a dog that is calm and relaxed. And we know why he's staying here. He is older and he is a pit bull mix. But at the same time, people sometimes need a dog for just a couple years or a year in their life. We have no idea what his lifespan will be. There's a lot of people that don't know what's going to happen in their life in the next few years, whether they're younger and they maybe have kids and they're not sure they want a dog at the same time, whether you're older and you think you might go into assisted living by choice or something like that. Sometimes an older dog is the right thing for someone to do. They don't require as much maintenance, meaning you don't have to necessarily go out and play ball with them for an hour. They're typically calmer. They're not clearing your coffee table of dishes and jumping on your counters. A lot of times they're already trained, and what we've seen with Toretto is that he is trained. So, you know, for some people, older dogs are the right answer. The hard part is that you don't necessarily have them quite as long. Because of his age, how we aged him at 13, we incentivize older animals, like I said earlier, and his discount is actually $40. So someone can adopt Toretto for $52.50. The discount doesn't mean you get less. You still get a brand new friend. He still does need to be neutered, and we'll take care of that. So that includes him being neutered and microchipped, vaccinated. You get your first vet visit. So we want you to establish a relationship with one of the local vets. So we cover your first wellness visit. Includes your Frederick County dog license. We provide all dogs with the Bordetella vaccination. And then, like I said with the last dog, every dog here is seen by a vet. So he already has some notes about what he may need in the future, and it's a good foundation for you to start that relationship with your vet. There's already a little bit of history there. That's it for the dogs. After the short break, we'll take a look at 5 cats available for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.
Ever wonder whether something is recyclable or not? Or maybe you forgot to set your cart out at the curb. Now there's an app for that. Download the free My Waste app for tablets and smartphones to have convenient access to a wide range of recycling and disposal information. Be notified of upcoming events, see your recycling schedule and set customized reminders, as well as instantly report curbside problems. Find out more at frederickcountymd.gov/mywaste.
Welcome back. Now we're going to take a look at 5 of the cats available for adoption here at the shelter. Our first guest is Belle. Belle is a 3-year-old domestic shorthair, and she just celebrated a birthday on April 23rd, so she just turned 3 years old. Her coloring is called tortoiseshell or tortie, and some people don't realize that her color is specific to females only. You will not see a male cat with that coloring. So tortoiseshell cats are only female. Belle was relinquished by her owner, and what her owner had told us was that she wasn't getting along with kids, and then about 2 years ago she had bitten a toddler child. A lot of times kids don't necessarily know how to hold or interact with cats appropriately. So I'm giving Belle a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. So we encourage anybody with small kids that you make sure you're monitoring that relationship, the activity time with them, and it's not the kid's fault either. They don't necessarily know that holding a cat just by its front legs around its chest is not comfortable to a cat, or things like that that some kids do, they just don't realize. They did say that Belle lived with another cat and they got along fine, so she would probably be a cat that would acclimate fairly easily with a companion cat. We talk to adopters about the best way to introduce cats to cats. There is a process, and there are some people that say, I've had cats all my life, that process, I don't have to do it. We found in the long run for the majority of cats, they're appreciative of the slow, gradual introduction as opposed to just throwing 2 cats together. Slow and gradual is maybe a 2-week period in time of a 15-year-old, a cat that may live 15 years. So although it seems like a long process when you're going through it, it's just a little tiny snapshot in that cat's life. And what we have here are adoption counselors that talk to people about that kind of thing. We tailor the adoption process to the person. It's not necessarily the same information every time. Obviously, people who've had cats all their life, going through the introduction process, their interview may be a little bit shorter. Brand new cat owner, we want to set you up for success. So we may talk to you for a longer period of time. We usually tell people the interview part takes about half an hour to an hour, depending on that. So once again, her name's Belle. It looks like she settled nicely in on Randy's lap, and she is a 3-year-old tortoiseshell domestic short-hair cat. Our next cat is Giselle. Giselle is 6 to 8 years old, domestic short hair, and her coloring is Torby with white. Now, I don't know if you'll pick up during the segment, but if you look closely, her left ear is tipped. And typically what that signifies is that this cat has been part of a TNR project. And what TNR stands for is trap, neuter, and return. So there are groups of individuals in the community here that actually target specific geographic regions. They'll trap a bunch of cats, and what they'll do is they'll spay or neuter them, and they provide them with 1 rabies vaccination, and then the cats are released back out into the community. And what the ear tipping does is, and they ear tip them when they're being spayed, and what the ear tipping does is, at a distance, you can see one of these cats and recognize that it's been 1, spayed or neutered, and then 2, has had at least 1 rabies vaccination in its life. So here at the shelter, we do work with groups that do TNR. So typically when an ear tip cat comes in, we have points of contacts in the community that we reach out to and say, hey, does this cat belong to one of your colonies? If I had to guess, we did that with Giselle, and all the individuals said, no, that is not one of our colony cats. So what we found is that she's quite handleable. So all those cats that live out as kind of wild cats, if you will, some of them are handleable, some of them can be pet. And she fits that description perfectly. So she has found her way to our adoption floor, and we're looking to find her another home. When she came in, we did note that she was somewhat thin. She only weighed 6 pounds, almost 7 pounds, 6 pounds, 15.5 ounces. And then we gave her a bunch of different tests to see if she had worms, and it appears she did have tapeworms. Standard treatment is a dewormer called Ponzel paste for coccidia deworming. It looks like we test all cats, not looks like, we do test all cats for feline leukemia and feline AIDS, and she tested negative for both of those viruses. We needed to clean her ears out because they were a little bit waxy, and noted she had some dandruff. One of the vet's comments is that she had an extremely thick coat, and that may be because she's been an outdoor cat for a longer period of time, and us coming out of the colder winter, obviously she would have had to build her coat up to survive the outdoors. We aged her, like I said, at 6 to 8, gave her the name Giselle because we considered her a stray. It looks like she came to us from Sebillsville, and someone actually trapped her. So she was trapped on a person's property in Sebillsville, and they brought her into us. Being 6 to 8, she qualifies for that $20 discount just like the dogs do, so her adoption fee is $77.50. Our next cat is Zeppelin. Zeppelin is a 1-year-old domestic medium hair, and he's black with white spot on the chest. So he's predominantly black, and he has a nice shiny coat. Being a little bit longer hair, as he gets older or if he puts on weight, he may need some help grooming himself, brushing, so on and so forth. But as a young cat, he's more than capable of grooming himself. So Zeppelin was given up in a roundabout way by an owner. So it looks like Zeppelin was owned by an elderly person, and that person, for some reason or another, could no longer care for him. So someone else in the family was giving care to Zeppelin for about 2 weeks, and they decided that they couldn't care for him either, so they relinquished to the shelter. So older folks make great pet owners. You know, they're home a lot, they can spend a lot of time, they provide that companionship, they have the caring nature. But as an older person, you do need to maybe consider what would happen to your pets if you were no longer able to care for them. And it can just be a simple conversation with other family members, but I think a lot of times if people put those wheels in motion, it gives them some comfort that, hey, if I'm not able to care for my cat, dog, ferret, rabbit, whatever it is, that I know this person is going to help me out, or here is my plan. So, you know, people plan for their life throughout their life. And this is one more thing you can do to ensure your pet has a place to stay. Here at the shelter, Zeppelin is more than welcome to stay with us, obviously, but our goal is to adopt animals out. So now we're looking for a home for him. They did indicate that he lived with a small dog, so he would do probably all right with a small dog. They said he liked the dog. They said that there was a kid that was around 3 years of age, and I'm uncertain if that is someone that visited the grandmother or the person that was caring for him. And then he said he is scared of a lot of things, such as vacuums, so on and so forth, but a lot of cats are. So that's obviously a habit of a cat. Also, being in a second home for a short time, there typically is at least a 2-week to a 3 or a 1-month acclimation period for cats until they feel really comfortable in new environments. So being a younger cat, he may need more time to settle in. So what we ask of anyone who adopts from us is patience. But once again, his name's Zeppelin. He's a beautiful black cat. He is about 1 year old, and he's a domestic medium hair. Our next cat is Zoe. She is a 6-year-old domestic short hair. Her coloring is classic gray tabby with white. Zoe was relinquished to us by her owner, and it looks like her owner was moving and could not take her with her for one reason or another. Zoe had previously lived with another cat, another dog, and she did indicate, the previous owner indicated that Zoe got along with both of them, and then that she also lived with teenagers. It didn't say young children, but teenagers. When Zoe was here, obviously, as I said in earlier segments, she's given a full medical exam. And one thing we found was that she has what we're calling a waxy plug in her right ear and then some wax in her left ear. We are actually treating her for that right now. You can maybe be able to see that she's drooling a little bit, and she was just given some medication for her ears. So that may be something as an owner that you'll have to be aware of and keep track of. Obviously, if your ears are plugged up, that is uncomfortable. It makes your bounce, it makes your hearing, everything off. So you want to make sure if you were to adopt her that you'd follow up with your vet and get some direction on how to take care of her ears properly. So one thing we do when animals are turned in is we ask the person, who was your vet? And the person provided us with Zoe's vet. And what we found with many animals is that she does not have a current rabies vaccination. You would be astonished about how many animals come to us with no rabies vaccination. If you do one thing for your pet, keep it current on rabies. And I hear a lot of people say with cats, well, it's an inside cat. Cats can slip out the door. A bat can come into your house where your cat lives. If you need a rabies vaccination, just like if you're looking to have your cat spayed or neutered, you can call us and we can tell you when or where you can get a low-cost rabies vaccination. So during the spring, summer, and fall, there are clinics all the time. So obviously we can give you that information, tell you, you can have it done, and it provides some peace of mind for you. So once again, her name is Zoe. She's a 6-year-old cat, domestic short hair, and she's available for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Our next cat is Sweetie. She is an 8 to 10-year-old domestic short hair, and she's white with gray. And we're putting her on the show a little bit differently, and that is she's in her bed. And what we have found over time is that Sweetie doesn't love to be picked up. I'll just say she doesn't like to be picked up. So a lot of cats don't feel comfortable being picked up, but she doesn't mind being pet or sitting on your lap. So we decided to transport her up here to our little studio in her bed and maybe make it a little more comfortable for her. So right now, Sweetie does have the dubious distinction of being our longest resident at the shelter. She's been with us since December 13th. And some people say, well, what's wrong with her? Why is she staying there so long? You know, a lot of times cats just get overlooked. At times, dogs get overlooked too. Sometimes when cats aren't right at the front of the cage, people don't think they're as friendly. But a lot of times, some cats will just stay in their bed, and what folks need to do is ask for a kennel staff person or a volunteer to open the door so they can interact a little bit more with her or him. And Sweetie is a cat that will likely make someone a great companion, but she probably is looking for a particular home. If I had to guess, she'd probably do better in a lower key home, meaning not a real busy family or a bunch of little kids that are running around. She may do better with a retired person or just empty nesters, that kind of thing. We are uncertain how she gets along with other cats, but as I stated earlier, we basically set you up for success. We try and give you tips to help making two cats get along or cohabitate go more smoothly or easier. Also, after we adopt an animal, we're not done with you. If you have problems, we want you to call us and hopefully we can help you fix those problems. That's this week's show. Thanks for taking a look at 10 animals from Frederick County Animal Control and Adoption Center. And I want to invite everyone to our open house on Sunday, May 17th from 11 to 2. Of course, we'll have animals available for adoption, but we also have a lot of great kids activities, face painting, a moon bounce, crafts they can make. We have other pet-friendly services and vendors, so you can shop around some other rescues, look at some other stores that are local here to Frederick that may offer pet goods or services. We also have a yard sale. The yard sale, all proceeds benefit the shelter, so we use it to buy special things for animals, things to take care of the animals here. And then we'll also have lunch for you. So please, please stop by. That is Sunday, May 17th, 11 to 2. The day is entirely free for you and your family. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.